All right, what's up, everybody? And this is another self defense analysis. Today, I'm going to be doing something different with you guys. I'm going to be sharing some personal stories um, so you can learn from them and you can, you know, sorry about that. Basically, learn how to more effectively deal with attacks and stuff like that. So, with that in mind, let's get to it. Um, Now, my my parents, they're from Mexico, and my mom in particular, she's uh she's from Guanajuato and grew up in a poor neighborhood, grew up in a very violent neighborhood, um, and it's very dangerous. Um, Shootouts, armed robberies, rape, police brutality, um, in some cases, a whole bunch of stuff goes down. So um, people getting jumped, people getting stabbed, gangs, all that stuff. Um, Based on what she told me, you had to be very aware of your surroundings. Um, you had to be prepared, or um, you could get attacked, you could get killed. Anything could really happen to you. Um, she told me how in the public bus, people were actually very good at robbing you. Um, they take a knife and make a hole in your purse or whatever. Um, and as you walk or something, all that stuff falls out, and they just pick it up, and you wouldn't even know. Or somebody would try to be friendly towards you, try to get you to buy something or whatever. Um, and then before you know it, somebody else comes and takes your stuff, and you don't even know it. It's too late. Or they do it the old fashioned way where they run up on you and point a gun to your head or knife and demand your valuables or whatnot. Some of them uh, will ambush you, they'll jump you, multiple people at a time, or at the same time, rather, and take your stuff. Um, so there's all those different types of situations. Um, in the bus, um, people will, guys especially, they'll rope the women um, quick. They'll just grab her, and before she even turns around, they're already gone. They don't turn to face her or anything. They don't reveal who they are, nothing like that. So you don't know who actually did it. Um, and some guys will wait outside with knives and guns and stuff, and wait till the woman gets off. And as soon as she walks around the corner or something, they'll attack her and probably rape her. They don't care. They don't care if it's a kid that they touch or molest or whatever. They don't care if it's an old lady, if it's a young woman. They just don't care. Um, let's see. And yeah, she's been groped on multiple occasions. Um, so that's pretty much what it is. Um, my grandfather, he had multiple shootouts with people who had a problem with him. I don't know. I don't know if they got into some conflict or whatever. But the point is, you know, he he got in this argument with one guy, and the guy showed up at his house and was really violent and aggressive, asking. He was demanding um, him to come out. Mom and grandmother were in pretty much in the house at the time, and my grandmother saw this guy. She saw him coming coming home from work, so she yelled at him. She basically warned him of the guy, and before you know it, guns were drawn, a couple of shots were fired, bullets went through the house, and the guy was dead because my grandfather shot and killed him. Um, Same happened with other people who tried the same approach. People in the neighborhood, they didn't like my grandfather, so they tried to plot to kill him. Um, so yeah, I mean, again, like I said in my other videos, situational awareness and conflict resolution. You don't want to mess with everybody. Because if you go looking for trouble's gonna find you. And looking for fights is not effective self-defense. That's just causing trouble. Um, and had she not warned him, who knows what would have happened. So, another case that happened is, there was rumors of several gangs invading the schools, and they regularly come, and the cops wouldn't do anything about it because they don't care. Teachers won't show up, and the gangsters, they'll beat anyone up who's on the campus with bats, pipes, any melee weapons they got, and practically they run the place. So, and by the time the cops show up, it's too late. So, again, situational awareness. You have to be aware of your surroundings and know what you're getting into. If somebody tells you, hey, don't go here, don't do this, don't do that, it's probably good advice to keep you safe. Let's see. Yeah, they do drive-bys too. Do drive-by shootings. Okay, one time, my some of my relatives, they were at a phone booth, talking and doing whatever, doing their business, and suddenly these guys come out, pulled a gun on them, pulled knives on them. I can't remember which one. Point is, they were masked and they were armed, and they said, we're gonna drive you all the way to some unknown location, and that's what they did. And they took all their valuables and they just dropped them off. Um, and then they drove off with the car and just left him there. So they had to walk all the way back to get help, all the way back to civilization. It was a very long walk. So again, situational awareness. You don't want to um, be in a position where you're likely to get ambushed, or you want to take safety precautions when making transactions such as those and things like that. So, um, and sometimes you have to act quickly because uh, they could have easily killed them right there in the wilderness. So, um, this other incident happened in my neighborhood, my old neighborhood. This this guy with a fake gun. Actually, we don't know. I don't know if it was actually real or not, but he came in, put it at the back of the cashier who worked there, and said, "Don't move, or I'm gonna kill you right here. Give me your valuables, everything, Um, and the cashier, said that he thought that he suspected the gun was fake, but he didn't take any chances and didn't move. So that's a very, very important part. You don't want to take any chances, even if the gun is fake, because you don't know if the guy has a backup weapon that's real. You don't know. You just don't know. Or he just might start swinging anyways. So it's best to comply and do what the robber says. You know. Um. Okay, so that's pretty much it on my family side, as far as I know. Some of my friends, um, they've been robbed at gunpoint before, and it was very scary for them. And yeah, that's what it is. I grew up in Lake Worth, Florida. It's a really rough area, one of the most dangerous in the country. Homicides, murders, attacks, you name it. Gangs, shootouts, sometimes with the police, police patrolling the area. A whole lot of stuff goes down. I mean, granted, it's gotten better from what I've heard, but it's pretty bad. Um, you know, I had some people when I was a kid. Me and my family would be walking around, and some people were in hoods and whatnot, and they were masked. I mean, you couldn't really see their faces. They're lurking around the corner, stalking us. So we knew something was up, and we planned very carefully what our next move was because we didn't want to fall into a trap. We didn't want to get followed, so we took precautions to avoid that from happening. Um, we'd move into the store, whatever, public area, where we could better see our potential threats. And they walked off. Um, so that's important. Have situational awareness. Know who's around you. Know who your enemy is. If you're not paying attention and you just walk out there You could be walking into a trap. Anything could happen at that point. One of my friends, he worked as a pizza delivery guy. He got jumped. He went to this apartment complex to deliver some pizza, and then he didn't know that some guys were hiding behind the stairs and whatnot. Um, they came out and they jumped him and they took his money. And I don't know about luckily he survived. So um, this kid at my school, he got jumped. He was walking down home, and two guys came up on him. He tried swinging to defend himself against like one guy moved back, then they hit him in the ribs and they kept punching him. Took him to the ground. They kept beating him, and unfortunately, nobody could do anything about it. The bus driver wasn't going to stop because he had kids to take home. Um, so, yeah, I mean, that's what happened. Unfortunately, not everyone is going to be able to defend you. The cops aren't going to defend you. They're only going to clean up the mess. I mean, you'd be lucky if they do, but it's not always going to happen. Let's see. So when I was in high school, I saw this kid sitting next to me. He looked really nervous. Of course, I didn't realize it at the time, but he didn't look good. He looked like he was sick or something. And I thought he was having a bad day or whatnot. And then all of a sudden, this guy walks up to him from behind and just starts swinging wildly at his face. And that and they just kept swinging till the kid jumped out of the seat. They go to the ground. My friend tried to break it up, but it was no use. Then they get back up again, and the kid says softly, like, "I don't want to fight you." And luckily, his attacker walks away because the principal already intervened, and that was it. He just walked away. So, important lesson: be aware of your surroundings. And the other thing too is that I found out that the kid was dealing with an issue regarding a girl or something, and I don't know. I don't know the whole details, but that's about it. It was stupid, but that's the reason why he got attacked. So it's important to verbally de-escalate the situation. Don't let it get to a boiling point where your attacker is going to resort to violence to settle a dispute. You have to take action, and try to prevent violence from happening. Another case I saw in school was this kid said something disrespectful to another kid, and the guy didn't like that. So all of a sudden, he gets up, grabs him by the shirt, and just throws him to the ground. And he was about to start swinging until the teacher stopped it. So that was really close. So important lesson there, you don't want to insult everybody. You have to know, like I said, know who you're dealing with, know who is prone to violence, and avoid those people. You know, because those people are just going to get you in trouble. Um, this other girl I saw said that there was this other girl, who tried to fight her, or wanted to fight her, and she was actually pretty smart. She rather than defend herself, um, you know, like most people probably would, she got someone else, a guy, to protect her. Um, important lesson there: use your resources, use people, get help. Don't think that you have to do something alone. Um, this happened at my old job. This I saw this big guy demand a refund from this cashier. He said, "Give me a refund. Give me a refund." And the cashier was like, "I'm sorry, I can't give out refunds." Then he got mad and just swung at him, and then they started hugging and grappling or whatever. And the big guy grabs him, picks him up, body slams him over the counter. It was made of glass too, and that was it. They were separated. The big guy tried to escape. They locked all the entry. They sealed everything, and as they waited for the cops, um, and the interesting thing too is that this guy has done things like these before, and he was on drugs. So when your attacker's on drugs, everything changes. Pain tolerance, um, aggression, maybe a lot of things. So yeah, I mean, his eyes look glossy, and he was sweating and whatnot, and stuff like that. So um, I was like when I was a kid, I was bullied by two people. They wanted my money. I just said no. You know, they kept taunting me, so I reported it to the principal, and principal had a talk with them. You know, they threatened me. One guy was like, "I'm gonna beat you up," and so I was aware of the situation. I was scared, obviously, as a kid. So rather than kick him in the balls and hit him, I had people watch my back. You know, I had adults watch my back and stuff like that. So I safely made it home. You know, and I could tell they were waiting for me. They were lying in wait next to a house. And one guy, he was like, "You a snitch," as if that was gonna do anything. Um, and I just ran. I just ran home, and and that was the last I saw of them because I moved. Um, so you know, that's how it is. I was hit by several people in the face as a kid. You know, I've been slapped, I've been spit on, I've been um, you name it. I didn't fight back because I wanted to avoid the conflict. I mean, there's some things that I should have not done. I should have not said to cause, to escalate things. Um, but as I got mature, that's when I knew that violence was not the answer, and that sometimes you need to take a hit to prevent things from escalating. And their hits didn't hurt. I mean, they did a little bit, but they didn't knock me out that much. It just rattled me a little bit. Um, I remember this one kid. He tried pushing me, trying to fight me. Rather than fight him back, I moved so the teacher could see it, and she was looking, and she was kind of concerned that he was violent, and of course he got scared and backed up because he didn't want to get in trouble. And that was the end of it. I went home, and that was it. Um, let's see. I outran a small dog before. Dog came busting out of a house, pretty much barking. So I outran it. I fell, and I still outran it. Um, I've outran another dog too. Like, I was riding my bike, and I saw this big dog in my own neighborhood running towards me. So I rode as fast as I could to my house, and just and just got off the bike, and ran inside the house. And as I looked back, the dog was already chasing me. Like, it was almost to my house. So luckily, I was able to get inside quick before it could do some damage. So yeah, outran several attackers. Somebody, one of my one of my this guy, or girl rather, who uh, who I was hanging with, basically dissed some guys who were like in a baseball field far away, and then they started running towards us. So uh, so we ran all the way home. We ran. Um, we were already far away anyway for them to catch up to us. So, um, but yeah, I mean, and that was common in my old neighborhood. Dogs were loose. You know, nobody cared really. Dangerous. There's a bunch of dangerous dogs around, with no owner. So you had to defend yourself in those cases if you were on foot. Um, I remember back in elementary school, I was dealing with my ex friend. He was this big guy who said he was going to beat me up after school. He was going to body slam me to the street, uh, whatever. So after school, um, I was scared. So what I did was I tried to look as tough and as hard as I possibly could. I acted as if I was going to be the one who was going to beat him up, and I acted as if I was going to be the one who brutalized him, and instead I was actually looking for him, kind of. Um, so yeah, next day, guy asks, "Hey, why didn't you beat him up?" And literally, I kid you not, dude says he's too strong. And then me and my friend, we started busting out laughing, um, because of that reason. So lesson there: um, get inside your attacker's head. You know, doesn't matter how big they are. It doesn't matter how tough they are. It doesn't matter. You know, if you can control their emotions, control their mind, then you can pretty much end the conflict before it even starts. Um, let's see. One case. There's this, and I mentioned this in my other video. This is one case of one of my ex friends who I accidentally spit on the bus, and he got mad, and I got scared. He said he was gonna beat me up. So luckily, one of my other friends, he 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 was like no. He was trying to help me. Um, he blocked him, and he told me to run, and that's what I did. And I just tried to outrun him. I couldn't though because I made a sharp turn, and or at least I tried to, and the guy tackled me to the ground. Luckily, it was on the grass. Um, so um, he could have beaten me up, but he didn't. He was like, "I'll let you go this one time because of my other friend." Um, so again, verbal de-escalation. Don't wait until it gets too late to do anything about it. Apologize, do whatever it takes to make amends and prevent that from happening. Um, there was this one small. I was attacked by this one small dog as an adult, and this was when I was taking Wing Chun at the time. Dog came out, and I tried to use the bush for cover, but I couldn't because I wasn't willing to take the risk of the dog coming out around it too, because dogs are fast, faster than you. So I didn't want to pretty much risk getting bit. So I backed up and I said, you know what, it's too late for to do anything to avoid it. I'm gonna going into predator mode. I'm gonna fight, and that's what I did. When the dog came in, I did these foot stomps and whatnot, and kept trying to stomp it, and it kept trying to look for an angle to bite me at, and I almost got run over backing up on this road. But luckily, I pretty much got back in the sidewalk, and we just kept going at it. And that was my first mistake, not being aware of my surroundings and stuff like that. But I was uh, so hooked on stress that I couldn't focus. So, and I was learning Wing Chun at the time, especially this kick of against a large dog, but it didn't work because the dog was small. So that's when I realized that Wing Chun had limits when it came to that. Um, what I don't know if any martial art that teaches you how to deal with a small dog. Um, and that's the problem with these techniques is that they only work under certain situations, you know, favorable situations, I might add. They don't work in unfavorable situations. There's too many variables for you to have a technique for them all. And that's what happened with this little dog. All I could do was just basic stomps, and that's it. And that I didn't even know. I didn't train for them. Um, so yeah, I mean, moral of the story: use your head, not your fists. You got to be smart. You know, be aware of your surroundings. Um, prevent violence from happening. Practice conflict resolution. Get in healthy relationships. Um, train realistically. You know, things of that sort. You know, don't think that everything can be resolved with one punch or one kick, because that's not true. You know, you have to adapt, and you pretty much have to develop various skills for effective self-defense. And that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you guys. Hope you guys enjoy this. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel. If you want modern, realistic self-defense, then check out my Fiverr gig below. Take a lesson. I got a free lesson on situational awareness. If you want, you know, just comment if you want it, and I'll see you next week.